Well, hi, it's Andrew Bell here, and I thought today I'd share with you something I did at the request of a journalist recently. That was to give some insights into the Gold Coast journey from what it was some 200 years ago to what it is today. I'll be really quick as it can be. The Gold Coast grew from a collection of small townships established around about the mid-1800s. It was the natural spread of farmlands beyond the Brisbane region. There were so many rural properties of hundreds and hundreds of acres. But of course, as people travelled by horse and cart to the area, they also discovered the magnificent beaches that we all appreciate today. By the early 1920s, it had become not only a great place for Brisbane people to frequent on weekends, which they did in great numbers, but it also had built a bit of a reputation for holiday makers who could come from further distances. Those people who were driving distances, they found it necessary to stay. And so this led to the beginning of a significant economic growth in the region. And by the late 1950s, the Gold Coast was declared a city. Now, with the arrival from Melbourne, the brilliant marketer and developer Sir Bruce Small in the late 1950s, also came his vision of how the Gold Coast could follow in the steps of Florida's Miami and turn large swathes of land into canal estates. In 1967, Sir Bruce actually was elected Mayor of the Gold Coast, and it was on the platform that he would grow the city to become Australia's major resort city. And this triggered phenomenal growth. And we all recall promotions such as the Meter Maids that put the Gold Coast on the national map. Over the next 50 years, and indeed the Gold Coast did stamp itself as the favourite holiday destination for Australia. Phenomenal growth and high-rise developments that were required to provide the holiday accommodation apartments that people wanted, because they wanted to be close to the beach, and so we needed to be high-rises to get them close enough. The trigger for the growth saw the population grow from 23,000 back in the 1960s to 650,000, demonstrating that not only did Australians like to holiday here, but many chose to make it their home. It wasn't until the 2018 Commonwealth Games that the city truly transformed from just a holiday destination to what is now regarded as Australia's lifestyle capital. Whilst the economy originally was based predominantly on tourism and construction, today it's expanded into multiple pillars, such as a leading education centre in Australia. Who would have thought we could carry 3 universities and so many of the premier schools of Australia? A centre for foreign language students. The Gold Coast also has the Health and Knowledge Precinct, which now sees the Gold Coast become a centre for medical care, and indeed has become a centre for medical research, with many new discoveries attributed to the research centres from areas like Griffith University. IT and light manufacturing are also developing an enviable reputation, and the Gold Coast success stories of its economic growth across so many industries means that it has now become a strong employment hub. What has really set the Gold Coast up for its most recent surge was the lead up to the 2018 Commonwealth Games, where over $18 billion was injected into the region, ranging from all sorts of new sporting facilities that were needed for the Games, through to the construction of the Gold Coast Light Rail. There was a massive $340 million refurbishment of the Star Casino and over $840 million refurbishment of Pacific Fair into one of the best shopping centres in the Southern Hemisphere. And a host of other public and private development work that set the platform for the city's growth going forward. Now, the city was ready for what happened as a result of the 2020 pandemic, when Australians were forced to stay at home. It refocused people on where indeed they wanted to live, and the Gold Coast was rapidly seen as the preferred location. And as a result of that, a frenzy of migration occurred not only from major cities such as Sydney and Melbourne, but indeed from many parts of Australia. Now, with so many people migrating to the coast, they then had their friends and families come up, and of course this has now triggered a further wave of people wanting to move to the Gold Coast. What's really facing us now is that the demand for property is outstripping the supply, and no wonder we've seen the sharp rise in real estate values. Today's migrators to the Gold Coast don't look at Gold Coast real estate prices purely as buying bricks and mortar, but indeed they see it as securing a huge lifestyle improvement, which comes with the purchase of their real estate property. Of course, the Gold Coast has attracted great interest from foreign poachers as well. Why wouldn't it? We've seen that going back to the 1980s when the Japanese led the charge. This was followed in the latter part of the 90s from other parts of Asia, such as Hong Kong, Singapore and Malaysia. Around about 2000, the next wave of foreign investment came from the UAE. This was followed by a wave of investment from Russians right throughout the first decade of 2000s. But the greatest surge of foreign purchases came by China in the period from 2010 to 2017, before our government tightening of foreign investment requirements and the strain in the relationships between Australia and China economically saw the end of the Chinese wave of investment. Today continues to be a great city of interest to a wide range of investors from the United Kingdom, the United States, Canada, South Africa, New Zealand, India, Indonesia, and a whole range of the Asian cities. The Gold Coast is now a magnet for lifestyle purchasers, a home for high wealth Australians, and a city that continues to offer opportunities for young people looking for an ideal location to raise their families. A little bit of Goldilocks here, where we're not too small, but we don't have all the things that are vital to enjoying the area that you live in, yet not too big that it's been spoilt by overpopulation. We're truly enjoying the dream of Sir Bruce Small about what this city could be, and it's in a period where it's never been loved by a greater number of people, all for so many different reasons. Well, that's it for this week. Thank you very much for your time. I look forward to sharing more news with you in a fortnight's time.